Keep the lights on. Use Airtel Money to pay for all your Yaka bills conveniently. Open the My Airtel app to buy Yaka units. Airtel Money. Simple, secure, borderless.
Brought to you by Fumbisayaka. Cooking with electricity is now so affordable with the Fumba tariff set by the Electricity Regulatory Authority.
Well, a very good evening and a warm welcome to our second edition of UBC News Tonight on this 24th day of September 2022. Now, before we delve into tonight's news bulletin, let's first take a look at the top stories of the night. In our top stories tonight, Minister for Health Dr. Ruth Acheng warns public against politicizing Ebola. Information Minister Dr. Balyomunsi says UBC will remain on air, rain or shine. Kisoro hosts Regional Investments Free Zone Summit. And in sports, Inter-Forces Games kick off in Queen Elizabeth National Park in Kasese. Good evening once again and welcome to UBC News Tonight. I'm Lauryn Kazimoto and Muhammad Mugalu on sign language interpretation. We start off this newscast with the Minister for Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng, has cautioned the public against politicizing the Ebola crisis, which she says is real and needs vigilance and medical action. The minister, accompanied by several partners like UNICEF, was addressing local leaders at Mubende district headquarters. Now, this comes at a time when the number of Ebola patients at Mubende Regional Referral Hospital has reached 31.
The people spreading false information must be cautioned, because we will make our people die when we can save lives. I even heard already, some people are already saying there is no Ebola in Mubende. It is because COVID has gone down, so these people in the ministry are already looking for money. So Jane Chen sat with the permanent secretary and said, let us create Ebola. I don't create Ebola, I don't like it. Nobody likes Ebola, because Ebola is life and death. And my humble request to the media, please allay the anxiety of the communities. They need to keep calm. If we are not calm and people begin to run away, we shall end up with the whole country in danger. Allay anxiety. We are not restricting movements. We are not restricting movements. We are not closing markets. I heard somebody on radio today, and that was Barbara again, that shops are closed. People are not allowed to move where. I was listening. We have not said close markets. Markets are open, shops are open. But when we get in a confirmed case anywhere, and there are more than 2 or 3, There are measures that we must take, and the community will be informed accordingly.
The Minister in charge of Information, Communication and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, has denied allegations that Uganda Broadcasting Corporation risks to be switched off from satellite over unpaid accumulated areas. The minister says government is stepping in to bail out the station. We have the details in this report.
In the past, UBC has suffered financial challenges, but it will not be switched off. It will not be switched off. If it has any debts that has accumulated as it carries out its work, government will have to support UBC and clear those debts, because it is our official channel through which we reach out the population of Uganda. And the UBC must remain a priority for the government of Uganda. So those stories are uncalled for. I know because of COVID and other related challenges, we have had some financial stress as a country, like many other countries, which stress could have affected budgets of different institutions, including UBC, but this will be sorted out. This will be sorted out.
Former Kabaka of Buganda, Sir Edward Mutesa II was the 35th Kabaka of Buganda and also the first president of newly independent Uganda up to 1966. His reign as ceremonial president started in 1963, a year after independence, till 1966, where he was ousted by his former ally and Prime Minister Dr. Apollo Milton Obote. As Uganda prepares to celebrate 60 years of independence, UBC brings you Uganda's pioneer president, who was also the 35th Kabaka of Buganda, Sir Edward Mutesa II.
Sir Edward Frederick William David Walugembe Mutebi Lwangula Mutesa II was the 35th Kabaka of the Kingdom of Buganda in Uganda from the 22nd of November in 1939, and was the post-independent ceremonial president of the Federal Uganda. In 1962, Uganda became independent from Britain under the country's new independent federal constitution.
In the new Africa, one more independent country, the state of Uganda. At Entebbe Airport, Prime Minister Milton Obote and His Highness the Kabaka wait to greet the Britannia, which brings the Duke of Kent to represent the Queen at the independence celebration.
The Kingdom of Buganda became a semi-autonomous part of the new Uganda Federation. Dr. Milton Obote, with his party, the Uganda People's Congress, reached a deal with Mutesa to support his election from government in a parliamentary system of election inherited from Great Britain.
So the traditional gestures have a real meaning of friendship.
In a session of parliament on 4th October 1963, Mutesa was elected president via secret ballot with the support of over 2/3 of the members. The federal prime minister was Obote, the leader of the Uganda People's Congress, UPC, which entered a governing coalition with the dominant Buganda region party, the Kabaka Yekka.
Canoes from all along the coast and islands of Lake Victoria take part. Victoria, the third largest lake in the world.
In the government, Sir Edward Mutesa, as ceremonial president, under his party, the Kabaka Yekka, held mostly insignificant portfolios, while Obote obtained control of the security services and armed forces, executive powers to form cabinet, hire and fire, which act Buganda.
Sir Edward Mutesa arrived and took the salute while the national anthem was played by the Uganda Police Band.
Despite Mutesa's position as ceremonial president, in 1966, Obote suspended the federal constitution and declared himself president of Uganda in February 1966, deposing Mutesa II into exile.
The people of England have made this share of warmth, of extension of friendship towards me on my arrival. My lords, ladies and gentlemen, please understand that I'm terribly harassed.
While in exile, Mutesa died of alleged alcohol poisoning in his London flat, number 28 Orchard House in Rotherhithe, 1969. Mutesa II lived for 45 years as a royal, 3 years of which he spent as Uganda's president and 3 other years in exile till he met his fate. Join me on the next episode as we profile another fountain of honor. Meet the President.
Now, the 1981-86 Luweero Bush War, protracted war, changed the political landscape of Uganda's politics that has been on a downward turn after independence. In our 60-year independence journey, we look at political milestones that have over time defined the path of Uganda's political history, mainly the dynamics of the war and why the National Resistance Army fighters, led by now President Yoweri Museveni, had to pick up guns.
UPC.
Shortly after 1980 elections that saw the UPC and Dr. Apollo Milton Obote return to power for the second time, the leader of the UPM, Yoweri Museveni Kaguta, who had participated in the 1980 presidential elections and failed to raise more than 1%, claimed that UPC had rigged the election and decided to pick guns, fled to the jungles of Luweero to fight the UPC government.
What else can we do if you have got a government which has closed off all other channels of peaceful change? What else could we do except to surrender, to resign ourselves to slavery, and we couldn't do that.
However, Obote sounded a warning to the NRA leader Yoweri Museveni, who had led a team of young men to fight the UPC government in the jungles of Luweero.
Call upon them not to support such persons, but to report them immediately so that the security forces can deal with them and deal with them quickly.
Most affected were the young ones who had suffered from malnutrition and the elderly.
It's of malnutrition and starvation that has become an epidemic this past year.
Starvation had become a problem. While the UNLA soldiers were determined to crush the NRA guerrilla fighters, the situation in hospitals was pathetic. Health workers had been overwhelmed with the incoming patients.
3 soldiers were killed in the village.
Many of the children kept on dying in hands of their mothers, who were helpless. Inside the Luweero Bush War jungles are the wanted NRA rebels doing their morning parade drills. With the NRA rebel leader Yoweri Museveni with his fighters in the jungles, he still maintained the cause of fighting the UPC government that he accused of failing peaceful options of regime change.
If we do not have this support, we would never have started such a war. So it is to the people's benefit themselves. And the fact that they have been able to bear this suffering as we have seen is a testimony to the fact that this is their own war.
The NRA revolution to succeed its political wing comprised of intellectual class and businessmen who did external propaganda and mobilizing of resources. The military wing led by Museveni was up to the task in the shrubs to inflict pain on their advancing enemies in the jungles of Luweero. On either sides, lives were lost.
It is estimated to 15,000. 10,000 being killed or massacred, and about 5,000 have died from disease.
For effective camouflage, the NRA rebels kept on striping naked government soldiers and putting on their uniforms, whereas lack of ammunition remained a major challenge on the side of NRA rebels. Continuous training on the new recruits into the rebel force remained crucial.
As you can see, people of our external committee, many of them are middle-class people.
Political mentorship of the rebels against the UPC leader Milton Obote's sectarianism was necessary to brainwash the newly recruited rebels.
So we educate everybody who is willing to work with us.
Many of the recruits joined the NRA rebel movement because they had no option, but had lost their parents and had been left completely orphans. The rebel movement gained momentum from a huge number of the UNLA soldiers who were defecting from the army due to mistreatment.
They are very much worse than they were under Amin, because under Amin, first of all, Idi Amin was not killing people outside the intellectual class. He used to kill only the elite, elements from the elite who were threatening his position.
The biggest problem facing the UPC government was building a professional and disciplined army at the time. Close to 500,000 Ugandans were reported to have died in the 5-year NRA guerrilla war in Luweero Triangle.
bamusonyiwa nibagamba gweddayo omulalo najja natulagirira mama waffe gyafiiridde netujja netumuziika ne taata.
However, the NRA rebels kept on accusing the UNLA government soldiers for killing innocent civilians and displaying the skulls to the international community.
That he runs away from Obote, who is killing them, has been killing them, is killing them, even recently was sharing them.
In what sounded to be a blame game, also government accused rebels for the death of innocent civilians and displaying the skulls. Amidst the NRA Luweero Bush War in 1985, General Tito Okello Lutwa overthrew Obote regime in a military coup, while in Luweero Triangle the NRA rebels continued to fight. Attempts to hold peace talks in Nairobi were arrived at the end of the war. That was attended by all the warring parties, but they were overshadowed by suspicion and mistrust on either sides.
We are hopeful that the brotherly spirit that is being portrayed by Ugandans sitting round the table will result in a full resolution of this issue.
They have put down their arms and they are cooperating fully and participating fully in the process of bringing about lasting peace in our country.
Despite Nairobi's peace talks in a space of 4 years, over 4,000 skulls of human beings had been recorded as lives lost in the Luweero Bush War towards the NRM triumph in 1986. The NRA rebel leader Yoweri Kaguta Museveni made attempts to make coalition with the different rebel groups like the FDM of Dr. Andrew Kayira and many others.
We may not have to take sides yet till after some time. One thing that is making the situation difficult are the reports of atrocities being committed by UNLA, the indiscipline.
Amidst the negotiations of a unitary government, there was no doubt the killings were continuing in Luweero Triangle, where the NRA rebels had full and much control over their enemies. Despite of the mistrust in 1985, a peace accord was signed in Nairobi between the warring parties under the auspice of former Kenyan President Daniel Arap Moi.
But today, in Uganda we have a unique opportunity to begin a new era.
Under the terms of the accord, the UNLA and the URA agreed to cease fire and share government power. The NRA violated the ceasefire agreement on January 17, 1986, and the NRA rebels took control of government on January 26, 1986. General Yoweri Museveni was then sworn in as president on January 29, 1986.
Luweero Museveni, swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the Republic of Uganda, and that I will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. So help me God.
in his government, political party activities were suspended on March 10, 1986. Uganda adopted a new constitution in October 1995 as the supreme law of the land that has since established a foundation of democratic governance in the country.
Milton Obote killed our people from 1981 to 1985, and the military council has been killing our people even recently.
The power of the executive branch was vested in the president, who is the head of state and commander-in-chief of the armed forces. In conclusion, the labels in Uganda's journey since 1962 include Sir Edward Mutesa II from 1962 to 1966, Apollo Milton Obote from 1966 to 1971, Idi Amin Dada from 1971 to 1979, Yusuf Chirondelule from 13th April 1979 to 20th June 1979, Godfrey Lukangwa Binaisa from 1979 to 1980, Paul Mwanga from 12th May 1980 to 22nd May 1980, Apollo Milton Obote from 1980 to 1985, Tito Kelolutwa from 1985 to 1986, and Yoweri Kaguta Museveni from 1986 to date. Susan Naonga reporting for UBC TV.
Thank you, Susan Naonga. Now, UBC News Tonight continues. About 6,000 people have embraced the peace event held to discuss the development of sustainable peace at Makerere University. The event has been held simultaneously around the world in commemoration of the 8th anniversary of Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration Peace Summit.
A framework of cooperation aimed at achieving spreading of culture of peace through awareness of peace and encouraging policies and programs of peace education has been earmarked for preventing instabilities during the commemoration of the 8th anniversary of Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration. A suggestion of weaving values of peace into social fabric and allowing mutual respect was highlighted.
Our community, the members, is now over 2,000 people. Because of this, with these members, the many politicians are having the relationship. We have the same heart and the mind. If we do this work together, the better the politicians will be set up for this society. Throughout this, the communication for making the better Uganda with our members. We try to making the relationship with the politicians. We are putting the effort to making this united. Also for developing the society from the H1 position. Those who have the responsibility for the location, we are having this relationship continually.
Youth have been identified as major players of international action for peace. So far, over 1,000 youth from 59 countries have been sensitized on protecting their rights.
The main aim of bringing youth together is that they should champion the cause for peace. As young people, we have to be instrumental in bringing everlasting peace through engaging in activities which bring unity, not to be used as instruments of instability in the country. Every day, each year, whenever youth are used in political activities, in such activities which lead to spreading of blood, it becomes a threat to the future. Because if the youths are an instrument of this stability, then what will the future of Uganda be like? All of us as young people have to stand up for a noble cause. We have to engage in activities with civil society organizations, such activities that build us. Peace education, which is being carried out by HWPL, is aimed at bringing everlasting peace, first in the mindsets of the young people, then even through their activities.
A youth representative of Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration in Uganda, Milton Dennis Mukisa, says government intervention is needed for them to access all regions in the country.
We have a challenge of accessing the different parts of the country. Government should help us through signing MOUs with us to give us a free legal mandate to access all youth platforms, to enable us to carry out peace education. We seek to enter into an MOU with government, which will allow us to bring peace education even to institutions, those of higher learning and even those of ordinary learning. so that people can learn peace even within the academic curriculum, so that when they leave school, they know their role even in the communities.
On maintaining peace, youth were asked not to be used as instruments of disability. Different activities have been held in different countries following the gesture of Heavenly Culture World Peace Restoration of Light activities, spearheaded by Man Hili, the founder, Sudat Kaye. UBC News.
UBC News takes a short break, but we return after these messages.
October Bidel Musaba Gardens Mukono, October Mukaga Millennium Gardens Sazibuaya, October Munanaji Montelembara, 15 October, 40 Poto Muchisawe, Abidim Bi October, Bale Sports Center, Umtual Kumo, Yebem Tuale Santo, a meza million more, Wabla Bantual Kumia, Abana tickets of Akosa M10 Momo, Banjagusa Sunan Comitano, Bidamina Romo Center, Hiva Motors, Galaxy FM, Radio 4, Kawina War, TN.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
The Back to School hustle today. Pay school fees conveniently using Airtel Money. Dial *185#. Select option 6, school fees.
Select to pay using Bridge Schools, School Pay or Beg Pay.
Select option 1, pay fees. Enter student number. Enter the amount. Enter the PIN number to complete payment. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Forget last season. Forget the oohs and the ahs. Forget every moment that stole the show. Because the real show is here on GoTV. It's the new season. It's action-packed and it's going to be non-stop football. With over 1,000 games from more than 7 leagues and cup competitions plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seat in the house this new football season. Get a GoCoder with 1 month of GoTV value for only 25,000 Uganda shillings and enjoy non-stop football. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
Yo!
Airtel is giving you bigger data bundles for the same price. Dial *175# to choose from our range of bigger Chillax bundles that don't expire and stay connected longer to loved ones. Airtel, the smartphone network.
It's back! After 2 years away, the Uganda International Trade Fair is back! The Uganda Manufacturers Association excitedly invites you to the 28th Uganda International Trade Fair from October 3rd to October 10th. Visit more than 1,000 manufacturers, traders, distributors, and business people from all sectors at the Uma Showgrounds in Lugogo. We are back to innovation, products, and world-class manufacturing excellence. Entrance fee is 10,000 shillings only. Select manufacturers will offer discounted prices of up to 50%. Enjoy live performances from your favorite artists as we celebrate 60 years of Uganda's independence. To book space, call 0703 552 444.
Stay connected on the largest 4G network in Uganda using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi at only 75,000 Uganda shillings. It comes with 15 GBs free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 of your friends and family at a go. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today or call 0800 333 330 for free delivery within Kampala. Dial *175 *9# to activate free 15 GBs. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome back from that break. Now in more news, Kisoro district has hosted the first ever Chigezi Investment Summit and Free Zone. The summit, which attracted area leaders, was officially launched by the Minister for Finance, Matia Kasaija, who tasked communities around Chigezi region to take advantage of the investment opportunities extended to the region. He was launching the Chigezi Investment Summit and Free Zone in Kisoro district.
That said, I take the...
Kisoro district has hosted the first ever Chigezi Investment Summit during an event held in Kisoro municipality and attended by who is who in the country, mainly from Ministry of Finance. The summit was held at the 620 acres of land recently offered to Uganda Investment Authority by Kisoro district, an industrial park. Kisoro is slated to change the business landscape in Uganda. Kisoro is located between the border with Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo in southwestern Uganda. The chairperson, Kisoro District, Abel Bizimana, asked government to open access routes in the area to ease movement of goods and also to strengthen security.
So this place has never had a permanent colonial master. That's why there is limited infrastructure except one church called Mutorere, where they established where to pray as they dig down our minerals underground.
Where possible, we shall keep on working hand in hand with all stakeholders in this activity so that we see its positive fruits at the end of the day.
The board chairman, Uganda Investment Authority, Morrison Rakakamba, promised new investment opportunities and tax-friendly incentives to Kisoro and Chigezi generally.
Uganda also has the fastest growing workforce in the region and flexible labor regulations, a key advantage for companies investing in labor-intensive operations. The average annual growth is at 3.9, and the average labor cost for unskilled and skilled population excluding social security costs is 440, which is the lowest in the East African Community region.
The Minister of State for Finance, in charge of general duties, Henry Musasizi, re-echoed government's promise for a fair and friendly tax environment.
The cost of money for investment should have a favorable interest rate. And we want to believe we have UDB in this room.
Yeah.
By the time we end this engagement, they should be able to tell you the opportunities we offer through UDB. We should have an environment where we have the free, not free, but cheap cost of electricity.
State Minister for Gender, Labour and Social Development, who also doubles as Kisoro Woman Member of Parliament, Sarah Mateke, said Kisoro is a nature-gifted district and most suitable investment destination.
I want to tell the investors that investing in Kisoro, you will not be wrong and you will not go wrong.
The summit was also attended by a number of ministers, including the former Minister for Agriculture, Trace Buchanayandi, Ethics and Integrity, Jamsin Sababuturo, and area MPs. Minister of State for Finance and Investment, Evelyn Aniti, advised youth to use the opportunity of industrial parks to get employed.
Challenge and the question that I face in social media is that, but the problem is, Honorable Aniti, that the industries are there, but the quality of the salary that you pay to the young people is not sufficient. Honorable Minister, I get so many young people coming to my office. Their first worry is not how much I should be paid. Their first worry is I need a job.
While launching the Chigezi Region Business Summit and Free Zone, Minister for Finance, Matia Kasaija, said it is for Chigezi to shine mainly in cross-border trade.
Let me use this opportunity to tell the people who are in Congo here
There's no need why you should be fighting. I'm talking about the Ugandans. If you can surrender, UPDF will stop hunting you. And anybody who has a relative over there, send him that message and say, you come back home.
Minister Kasaija called upon both domestic and foreign investors to take advantage of the ready market in Kisoro's neighboring districts.
If we think there is a law that is squeezing you and we should change it, we shall look at that and study the case. And if you have a good case, we shall change the law. We want you to make money. There's nobody who invests without wanting to make money. We want you to prosper. We want you to expand. We want you to make to employ more Ugandans. But of course also, I want my taxes.
Leaders in Namayingo district want government to extend more health services to the people living on islands. Leaders say limited access to health services often prompts mothers to be assisted by traditional birth attendants, most of whom are mere gamblers. Take a look.
Busoga is among the regions with the highest number of teenage pregnancies, currently estimated at 40%. In Busoga region, girls as young as 11 years are sometimes victims of early pregnancy.
And even those in the primary level, finishing up that level is hard.
A lot of complications that come along with the issue of malaria per se. Many of them are anemia and including death. Ginger General Faro doesn't have a blood bank. If we are to get, it's served by Nakasero.
Busoga region is faced with the challenge of poor health services, which are reportedly affecting the health of mothers, mainly within the island districts like Namayingo.
It is geographical nature. It is a district which is composed of both the mainland and the island.
When a mother is in the and is supposed to be referred from the island, first of all they hire a dry boat, and then you are supposed to fuel it. You realize that moving from Dole Islands to come to Namayingo here, somebody will need between 60 to 100 liters, depending on the weather.
It is against this backdrop that leaders in Namayingo district are asking government to extend health services to the island areas.
The ministry has already enrolled Namayingo to benefit from the boat ambulances, which has not yet come. But also we also need another ambulance on the mainland, because the journey will not be complete unless there is another ambulance on the mainland to continue with the referral.
Like Hama Health Center 3, where most of the Ugandans instead look for health services in Kenya than coming to the mainland and to Lolwe Health Center 3.
Fortunately, CODAID, a non-government organization, has donated maternal health equipments to health facilities in Namayingo district.
Because we see here in the district, and we see it all over Uganda, that mothers and children are, of course, first of all, very vulnerable. Specifically also because we see a lot of teenage pregnancies.
And most of our health centers did not have this equipment. So we are very happy and thankful and grateful to the CODAID implementing partner.
A verification officer with CODAID, Magoba Patricia, explains how the 5-year project has benefited Busoga region, particularly Namayingo district.
We see that the youth are not accessing services the way they should. So we chose Namayingo because we want to bring these services closer to them. If they can't come to the facility, these in-charges and health workers, they take the services to the youth.
Although a lot has been invested in this region, CODAID says more attention in the line with the health sector is still needed.
Most of the facilities that we visited, of course the MCH department needs more attention, because these are the deaths that we can avoid. Losing a mother while delivering, it's unavoidable death.
Although a lot has been invested in this region, Codate says more attention in the line with the health sector is still needed. The 64 million equipment is to benefit Bugana Health Center 4, Bukimbi Health Center 4, Bulombi Health Center 3, and Sionjonya Health Center 3. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
A memorial lecture in honor of Dr. Matthew Luweero and other medics that have succumbed to Ebola virus disease since 2000 has been held at Munyonyo Country Resort. Uganda National Association of Community and Occupational Health, together with Makerere School of Medicine and Health Sciences, organized this particular event.
That field of health system science. Many challenges we face as health professions and therefore impact negatively on our ability to practice. To prepare our health professionals for the 21st century and work in a health system, many schools are trying to align and train their professionals in health systems science. These changes require schools to increase the focus on new curricular areas, and this is just one. But if we are learning institutions, we will care to find out what is it that else is new or else that we are not doing well that we should move into.
He was a very loving husband and very humble, and he respected people regardless of class. He never segregated, whether at work, whether at home, or in the village. He took everyone the same.
He gave his life in.
Now, Uganda spends over 7 billion shillings on procurement of anti-rabies treatment for humans and 1 billion shillings on animal vaccines. Now, this underscores the need for relieving the country of rabies, a reason why an 8-year national rabies elimination strategy has been developed. Addressing journalists at Media Center, State Minister for Animal Industry, Lieutenant Colonel Bright Ramirama said World Rabies Day will be commemorated under the theme One Health, Zero Death.
They are friendly creatures, protective beings, yet very dangerous, especially when not treated. As they struggle for food, one fact remains clear, that dogs are the leading carriers of rabies, not only in Uganda, but across the world.
The World Health Organization estimates that approximately 50,000 people die of rabies annually, particularly in developing countries in Asia and Africa. The victim bitten by the affected dogs usually show signs of the disease after 1 to 3 months, becomes paralyzed and die within 7 to 10 days after showing the signs.
On average, 32 people in Uganda die of rabies annually, a number which could be bigger, though the reporting levels are still low. State Minister for Animal Industry, Ramirama Bright, says treating rabies is an economic burden to Uganda.
Uganda spends over 7 billion Uganda shillings annually on procurement of anti-rabies treatment for human and over 1 billion shillings a year for the procurement of rabies vaccine for dogs and cats.
These are some of the reasons why government has developed the National Rabies Elimination Strategy of 2022 to 2030. It is meant to guide the country in the control efforts against rabies and eventual elimination by 2030.
The strategy is premised on the following pillars. Pillar number 1, mass vaccination of animals, especially dogs and cats, and humans at risks. Vaccination of veterinary and public health professionals at risk.
Uganda is home to over 2 million dogs and about 1.5 million cats. The upcoming World Rabies Day offers an opportunity for rabies control and stakeholder mobilization, with dog owners encouraged to prevent dog bites.
If you are keeping the pet for getting rid of rodents around and snakes around your home, then it is advisable that actually you castrate it. Otherwise, it may go out in the mating season and bring you disease and eventually bite your children.
The World Rabies Day is set to be held in the Eastern District of Tororo on the 28th of September 2022. It will be held under the theme, Rabies, One Health, Zero Deaths. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thank you for that, Henry Okrut. Now, the Bishop of Namayingo Diocese, the Right Reverend Wilberforce Chitiol Walida, has urged students of St. Juliana School's Gayaza campus to proclaim God's word under any situation. Luweero was officiating the dedication prayers of 4 senior full candidates and confirmation service, which was held at the school.
The Bishop of Namayingo Diocese, the Right Reverend Wilberforce Chitiol Walida, has asked candidates, their teachers and parents to always be thankful to God in whatever situation they might be.
As a country,
Bishop Luweero also asked parents and guardians to be supportive to their children as they sit their unifying examinations.
Minister of Education, but when that time comes, you have to do the walking alone.
He urged the 67 students confirmed in the Anglican faith not to be misled by the much-looming faiths. The head teacher, Los Chintu Galabuzi, says they have managed to maintain discipline among students using different stakeholders.
By the time they returned, they were completely green. We started from scratch, but they have tried as much as possible to absorb the pressure right from all corners, because we had to cover up. The discipline wasn't very good, but we had to put all people, all stakeholders together. First of all, we had to put these children under the guidance of God. We always have morning glory every morning to put them close to God.
In attendance was the Archdeacon of Gayaza, Venerable Dansan Chwanuka, lay leaders, parents and well-wishers, Deborah Namamonde, Nanzidi Beatrice, UBC News.
The retired Bishop of Mukono, Elia Paul Luzinda, has cautioned the public, especially those in high offices, against corruption. The emeritus bishop says this can be tamed with the public embracing and practicing Christianity values.
With corruption in Uganda not helped by the economic times, Mukono's Bishop Emeritus Elia Luzinda is advocating for religious uprightness that is witnessed in deeds rather than in words.
But I want to implore you, may also challenge, that time is now that we changed from that to going deeper into the intention of God when He sent His Son Jesus Christ. And we badly need that in Uganda. Badly need it. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe not. Where corruption is so deep.
Bishop Luzinda was at Elite High School along Entebbe Road and bestowed the sacrament of confirmation to learners and also prayed for Senior 4 and Senior 6 candidates.
It's my prayer that you, our lovely students in this school, will pick a character that will be marketable. With Jesus, your marketability, your value will rise up.
The school proprietor Drake Lubega talked the long history of Elite High School, whose motto he plans to set up countrywide, but with integrity as the key message.
Wajjawo ekizibu ekyetaaga okunogerwa eddagala. Twetaaga okuddayo ku nnono z'abajjajjaffe tubeere n'obwesimbu. Ekyobugagga kye tulina baana bange mazima. Amazima buli we gakubula manya nti oyolekedde okubeera omuki omwavu.
Elite High School was started just 4 years ago, but has registered numerous successes not only with the good grades, but also in sports and other extracurricular activities.
The National Curriculum Development Center developed a new lower secondary curriculum aiming at producing graduates with competitive skills. The Directorate of Industrial Training at the Ministry of Education and Sports, Dr. Patrick Byakatonda, says the Directorate developed assessment training package for 78 various occupations that will be assessed under the lower secondary curriculum come 2023.
The Directorate of Industrial Training developed assessment training packages for 19 physical education occupations, which will be assessed by the Directorate of Industrial Training. The sectors include swimming, woodball, aerobics, football, basketball, volleyball, netball, among others.
We are here at Makerere College of Education and External Studies. It is an accredited center of Directorate of Industrial Training, mainly to handle the sports subsector is one of the area. Now we developed assessment and training packages in physical education, but mainly our packages are specialization in football, netball, volleyball, table tennis, swimming, and name them.
Over 300 physical education secondary teachers have been equipped with skills to boost the teaching of the new curriculum.
The teachers need to know how to teach and how to assess. If you are teaching football, you need to know how to teach it and how to assess it. So that is, we are taking them through. We have received an overwhelming number. They are more than 500 secondary school sports teachers, and we thank the head teachers for sending us these big numbers.
The Assistant General Secretary, National Council of Sports, David Katende, hailed the Directorate of Industrial Training for promoting physical education and sports for job creation.
By DIT coming out with an assessment framework at different levels of attainment of skill for the different practitioners in the industry, that will go a long way in helping these people to fit in the various options in the world of work. So we want to thank DIT for the workshop, for the interest and for the promotion of PE and sports, and most importantly for vocationalizing the sport industry.
The head of Department Science, Technical and Vocational Education, School of Education and Extramural Studies at Makerere University, Dr. John Sentongo, is pleased with the partnership of the Directorate of Industrial Training to promote physical education in schools.
Makerere University and the Department of Science and Technical Education in particular is partnering with the Directorate of Industrial Training to work together so that we promote physical education in secondary schools. The Department of Science and Technical Education has been granted an assessing center for PE for assessing assessors.
Sudat Kaye, Henry Muganga, UBC News.
The Uganda National Students Association Wakiso chapter has held an election of the new executive committee. This was witnessed during the Students' Council sitting at the Wakiso Resource Center in Wakiso District.
Uganda National Students Association Wakiso chapter has held a Students' Council sitting from which training and voting of new executive members was conducted.
We have had more than 97 schools that have sent five delegates from their leaders who are representing their schools in this sitting. So today, the regime that has served for a year is now going to hand over power to the incoming regime such that they can also take up the responsibility and the mantle of leadership. We have close to 60 members of parliament who went through UNSA. And this UNSA kind of leadership grooms them to be future high-profile legislators. So that's why we are doing it annually, to ensure that it matters them.
Hundreds of students from different schools participated in the event that also attracted regional leaders.
Me being a coordinator from Toro sub-region, I need to know what takes place in central Uganda. That's why I'm here for national salvation. The schools here, the number of students are a bit more compared to up-country. Because when you look at Toro sub-region, it's up-country. But this is almost the center, whereby masses from the entire country across the world are here. So that's a big difference. But structurally, basing on structures, we're the same because we're being protected by the constitution of UNSA.
After casting ballots, UBC spoke to the new executive-elect, and this is what they had to say.
I vow as the new speaker of the Uganda National Schools Association that I will serve. I vow that we shall cause change in the new regime. There is going to be change. I will make sure that we turn pain to purpose. We turn purpose to vision, and we turn the vision to a mission.
I will make sure that we go to schools. It's going to be like a project. We go to schools, encourage, speak to students, and tell them that they can be better than what they think they are. Apart from that, we're going to develop UNSA in every school within Wakiso.
The National Coordinator Wakiso District, Abdul Bisaso, organized the event that empowered participants with skills of curbing fires, strikes, and other vices in schools.
We are trying to send our message of fire prevention to the students and to help us in curbing the situation of these fire outbreaks in schools which have been so rampant. So far, schools, over 60 schools now have got banned since the year started. And now, if we engage the students, leaders, they can take the message of prevention.
Uganda National Students Association is a national umbrella students organization for students in post-primary institutions in Uganda, aiming at mobilizing students towards matters pertaining to their welfare and national development. Joshua Kagoro, UBC News in Wakiso District.
Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
Leaders who care create a good learning environment.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices. The Tales of Kasozi, brought to you by Uganda Communications Commission.
Yes, hello? This is Kasozi. How can I help you?
Calling you from the mobile service center.
Okay. So how can I help you?
Well,
We have noticed a few things wrong with your number and need your mobile money PIN.
Tonfera, never give out your password or PIN to any caller. Your mobile service provider will never call or ask for your personal details. If in doubt, go to your nearest phone service center.
This message is powered by UCC, MTN, Airtel, Bank of Uganda, and NPSP Association.
Welcome back. And now into the business scene. Conservation Through Public Health is an organization that was founded by Uganda's pioneer gorilla doctor, Dr. Gladys Kalema Zikusoka. Zikusoka's organization aids different communities that live around national parks and share a fragile environment with the gorillas.
Let me stop that.
This is Dr. Gladys Kalema Zikusoka, Uganda's pioneer veterinary doctor to treat wildlife, including gorillas, since 1996.
It is now 27 years since I graduated from vet school and 26 years since I started working with the mountain gorillas.
Nestled at a gorilla health center in Ibhoma village in Kanongo district with visitors, Kalema Zikusoka can be found testing gorilla samples in the laboratory.
Gorillas are very close cousins of ours. They're great apes just like us. We share 98.4% genetic material with gorillas. They don't have a tail, that's why they're apes. So amongst the apes you have humans, gorillas, chimpanzees, and orangutans, which are found in Southeast Asia.
According to Dr. Gladys, a lot has been achieved ever since she began her journey, where she has been able to establish a non-government organization to aid people around the national park.
A grassroots NGO and non-profit that promotes biodiversity conservation by enabling people to coexist with gorillas and other wildlife through improving the health of the animals, the health of the people, and the livelihoods of the communities who share their fragile habitat with endangered mountain gorillas.
There are 22 habituated gorilla groups in Windi and Mugahinga national parks, each group with a silverback, mothers, blackbacks, juveniles and babies.
So because of that, we're able to track the gorillas and know that there's 22 habituated gorilla groups for tourism in Windi and Mugahinga conservation area. So when tourists come to Uganda, they're assigned to a group that they track. And every day the group moves around a kilometer a day, or even a minimum of a kilometer a day. And when they move, then people are able to track them, and you always follow them each day.
The habituated groups split up, so currently we have 5 groups. The 5 groups are Vitkula, Mukiza, Chagwilo, Orzogo, then Happy. We use shortcuts, but in case we reach there and find them having not located the group, we keep on following them slowly.
There are now 1,063 mountain gorillas in the world, with Uganda hosting almost 3/4 of these species.
World, so you can see there are still very few. And therefore I would call upon everybody to come in and we do what? We combine effort to do what? To conserve the forests and the species themselves.
Joshua Kagoro, Sula Kagugube, UBC News.
Makerere University is celebrating 100 years of excellent service to humanity. Over those 100 years, a lot of people have contributed greatly to making Makerere the great university that it is now, including people making sacrifices for land on which the university was built. And we are indebted to these people. Makerere has produced great statesmen, great people in all trades who have moved not just Uganda, but the entire East African and Central African region and the entire continent. We are now celebrating those achievements, and we are looking back and saying, can we leverage those successes to build even more for the future? As we celebrate 100 years, we are calling upon all our stakeholders, particularly our alumni, so that we can more meaningfully contribute to transforming our society. Please, you can follow us on our website, www.mark.ac.ug, and there are special pages there dedicated to 100 years celebrations. So I welcome all of you. I encourage all of you to participate as much as you can.
Welcome back. And now into the sports scene. The 16th edition of the Inter-Forces Games have been launched in the Queen Elizabeth Conservation Area in Kasese District. These games are aimed at creating unity between the forces and the communities to curb crime. This in addition to talent development, among other reasons. Take a look.
The 16th edition of the Inter-Forces Games is going on in Queen Elizabeth Conservation Area, Kasese District. The Games started with a community run that attracted all genders in Uganda People's Defence Forces, prisons, police and Uganda Wildlife Authority. Annette Chelengat from Uganda Wildlife Authority females and Kiprotich Martin from Uganda Police males emerged winners of the 8 and 10 kilometer race, meant to be used as a tool for building unity in the execution of their duties.
Competition is going to come in to spice these activities and the higher good. And I can assure you, nobody has come here to be one. We have come here to win. We know our colleagues in the prisons, they have athletes they protege, but we also have our own protege.
The Inter-Forces Games were ushered in by a march through the national park that was preceded by a tree planting campaign in the outskirts of Katwe town. The Director Finance Uganda Wildlife Authority, Jimmy Mogisa, represented the Executive Director.
So as we go into the games, much as it is a competition, the idea of sportsmanship still rules as paramount. In every game or competition, there are winners, there are losers, so we will have that kind of understanding.
Uganda Wildlife Authority has a home advantage to excel in the Inter-Forces Games.
We want to try as much as possible to make sure that we retain most of the trophies. We don't want to host and then people take away the trophies. So we are prepared to make sure that they come, we compete, we will demonstrate what we call sportsmanship and fair play.
The other forces are also determined to use their field experiences to win as many events as it is practically possible.
Learn to work together, we learn how each team operates and we work within that. So to us, it will strengthen our togetherness, it will create friendship among the forces. We don't expect to see bad instances that have been happening between the forces because this creates brotherhood.
The forces are competing in shooting range, football, netball, darts, volleyball, taekwondo, athletics and so on.
And with that, UBC News Tonight comes to an end. Do enjoy the rest of the evening. I'm Lauryn Kazimoto and Muhammad Mugalu Sign Language Interpretation. Good night.
UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what's up? How is everybody doing right now? Come on, you're watching the Magic Mixology, and whatever you want in terms of